Thank you so much for joining me. This is Anna from Craft Me a Card, and I'm crafting for the crafter, and that is you. So for this card, as you can see here, I use a die that is a little elf, and he's holding gifts. And I added names on the little tags to personalize it. And I also give you other options like this one, and then also a slim line card. But anyways, let's get to it. This is the die I will be using. It's a Thinlit die from Sizzix, and it's an elf. And because I know that you might not have this die, I'm going to go ahead and post a link to my eBay store where I will be selling this elf for you to purchase. And it will only be $1, and this is just for you to be able to go ahead and recreate this card if you feel you would like to. So I'm really not profiting from it. Continuing with the cards, so first I put together a bunch of gifts, different sizes, and this die set has options, has dies for these gifts. So I just go ahead and I make a bunch of gifts, different sizes, different colors, because these are going to be sitting on top of my elf. I go ahead and I crease my base, my card base. This is a 6.5 inch by 5 inch card. I go ahead and apply glue all around the edges to bring in my first layer, and it's this pretty shimmery red cardstock. After this, next I go ahead and I die cut my next layer, which is this striped pattern paper. And after I run it through my die cutting machine, I go ahead and I apply glue all around the back, and I just adhere it onto the first layer, the red layer here. So just that quickly, this card is ready for its main attraction, which is this cute little elf. So I just go ahead and with my fine tip bottle, I go ahead and I apply glue all around the little elf, and I just try to center him somewhat, because since he's leaning back, those gifts are never going to be centered unless you have a really big card. But so I'm conscious of this, so I just try to center him, and knowing that those gifts are going to be towards the left hand side of the card. And I just go ahead and I stack the gifts however I feel would look best. I just play around with it different ways, and until I'm content with how it looks. Here is where your decorating abilities come into place. However you feel it looks better to your eye. You arrange it different colors, different sizes, and it's just fun to play around with it. And one by one, I go ahead and I attach them to the card using liquid glue. I find that using tweezers for some reason really helps me position things better, and it just makes it easier than using my bare fingers. I'm getting more and more used to using tweezers, and you could use any tweezers that you find or have. So because of the way this card is positioned, we have the elf, you know, taking up the left-hand side of the card. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to do the sentiment. So I decided that a banner would be good, because that one could come in and push in from the right hand side. So next I decided to use a die that I've never used before, but I liked it because it was a smaller Merry Christmas and it fit perfect on this banner. So I went ahead and I die cut this Merry Christmas on the banner. And putting a red background made it stand out a little bit more. I went ahead and I added some glue to the back so then I could put it on top of the red cardstock. And this is the same red that we used for the first layer. Since I didn't put any dimension on the gifts or on the elf, I decided to pop up this banner a little bit just by adding some double-sided foam adhesive. And then of course I go ahead and I position it on my card. And then I just trim off the excess by turning the card over. And I just go ahead and I cut it with the scissors. I like to add corners to my cards, well, to most of them, and this is just a way to have the eye dance around the card, if you will, instead of having it set in one area of the card. Adding something like corners helps the eye do that, wander around. And next for the names, I just go ahead and I grab some scrap white piece of cardstock, and I go ahead and I add the names of the people in the household that I will be sending the card to. And very carefully, I go ahead and I cut these out in tag form just by snipping one of the ends into a V form. And I wanted you to see how I did this, so I think I zoomed in a little bit too much. So I apologize for that. Next, with the same fine tip marker, I go ahead and I add a faux hole to the tag. And then I go ahead with my tweezers, I go ahead and I add glue just to the tip of that tag to glue it onto the gifts. And that way they could just stand up a little bit, like if they were flying. I also added some glossy accents to the die cut Merry Christmas, and this is just to make it stand out a little bit more. I felt it was getting lost a little bit in there. So of course I felt the card was a little simple, so I go ahead and I reach out for my favorite technique here, and that's to add some sequins all over the card, and that just makes it sparkly and bright. And I really like how that looks. It makes it look like maybe snowflakes. Anyways, I thought it was a cute addition. So this is another card that I want to share with you guys here, and this one is only for 2 people. And if you have a household that has more people, there's always the option of a slimline card, and you could add as many gifts as you want. You just go ahead and create these gifts a little smaller so you can stack more on top of each other, and you could add more names. It's whatever you decide to do. So with this, I complete card number 4. Another way to personalize and customize a Christmas card with an elf holding some gifts. I thought it was a cute shadow to share. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will continue with card number 5. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please show support and subscribe, and comment and like, and don't forget to hit the little notification bell so you can get an alert every time I post a new video. Alrighty, see you next time. I hope you get inspired. I hope you create and be happy. Bye bye. How'd that happen? My fingers are dirty. What the heck? Oh no. Making the mess bigger.